need to
What's
change it
this
to the
about?
right feed, Mike. That's why. That's
Ooh,
why you need an intern that knows what he's doing. Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be the very last LSU USC breakdown post game you're going to
I thought you were
listen
gonna say
to.
it's our last pod. This is it. We're
It's the
hanging it up.
last pod. We made an internal bet that like if LSU lost the first game of the season again, we were just shutting it down. So it's been a fun ride. Enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, LSU falls flat again. I don't know, 27-20, whatever the score was. It hurt. It hurt.
Yeah, here we are again. Here we are. 5 years in a row. Man, I tell you what, after we saw the defense make a stand in the fourth quarter and I mean, have a 4 and out after, a couple batted balls and a Whit Weeks tackle behind the line, coming out like we did on offense and going 3 and out like that, that was it. I got up from the couch. I said, "This game's over." We didn't know how to respond when we were up, and to be honest with you, it was like the same feeling, almost like the whole game. It felt like the same feeling from the past 5 years or the past 4 years of these guys are making this so much bigger than it has to be. Just go out and fucking execute, and
Just get a
we
first down.
we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it, and that was
Yeah.
very disappointing. And to be honest, I know this is kind of a free willy type of podcast, and we will say, Grant's on vacation, so we didn't
Much,
fire him
much
or
needed.
anything. But when that moment happened, it was it. It was over. It looked deflating. It looked as if we get the ball back again, it's just going to be, we're just grabbing for straws, man, trying to do anything there instead of having that downhill fucking depend on this all world offensive line and just grind it out. And USC rose to the occasion and made us look fucking silly and undisciplined. I mean, we can talk all we want about the shotguns to the face, but I mean, Will Campbell doing 2 false start penalties in a row. That's upsetting, getting behind the chains. But then Brian Kelly after the game, slamming the table, did something weird to me, man. It was like it was a little too calculated, in my opinion, to buy it. And I'm getting sick and tired of this reactive coaching style. But that's what we have. That's what we're doing. I've always been a BK guy. But simply put, he does not know how to get these guys to execute in an opener. I do think this is going to be a good football team. I think we will bounce back from this. And to his point, he said a lot of good things. To his point, I think it's a good thing you play a solid team right out of the gates because we know who we are and this team's going to improve and it's going to be a good team because of it. I agree with that. But damn, as a fan, man, that looks forward to something like this all year really sucks.
Yeah, and look, there's just so much to unpack from the game. Like you said, there were a couple key moments. It just felt so weird getting that fourth down stop and feeling like you're at like midfield. Like Whit Weeks almost catches that ball, whatever. It almost felt like a fumble, but to have that 15-yard penalty on top of obviously not getting like the Whit Weeks interception yardage, it felt like you were 30 yards behind. And it was like, oh shit, like I thought this game was over and not being able to execute that one play. I thought for the vast majority of the game, LSU played good enough to win. I was disappointed in the offensive line running the ball. I was disappointed in some of the play calling, obviously. Like, we can dive into all that. But for the most part, I was like, oh shit, man, we look solid. Like, we look good. The defense plays with something. The defense gets after the quarterback. Night and day difference on the defensive line. But just those couple plays that define the game, we came on the wrong side. We came out on the wrong side like every single time. And like that's what's frustrating. And I feel better after watching this game. I took some heat on Twitter and I knew it was coming. I embraced it because after that game was over, I just sat there like, well, I really believe our offense is going to improve. Like I thought Nussmeier looked good. We just kind of have to get into the flow. And now I actually know our defense. Is our defense going to be incredible? No. Are they going to give up a shit ton of yards? Like, probably. But these dudes have a little bit of a knack for getting off the field or making the play when the play was needed. Every third down I ever watched under Matt House, I thought we were fucked and we weren't going to convert. And against USC, we came out on the right side of it so many times of like making the play to get off the field and not just letting them drive it all the way down. It's like I came away more confident in how this team's going to be this year. I feel better about saying LSU is a playoff team today than I did last week. And I know that's weird, and I know it's like the margins have gotten a lot thinner. But now we kind of know what we have, and I think we got a good squad. We just got to come out on the right side of those 50-50s. We didn't get a turnover that felt like we had to have gotten one of those. Just so many things.
There were a lot of situations that the ball just did not fall our way. And it was unfortunate we were in that situation, but that's who we are right now. We are a team that is inches away from completely changing a narrative, right? We are a couple penalties away, or just some better execution. I mean, shit, Xavier Thomas right out of the gate was inches away from breaking the opening
Oh my
kickoff return
God.
for a touchdown. I mean, we
I
had
mean,
so many little bitty breaks not go
yeah.
our way where it could have really changed some things. And I'm not sitting here trying to. I know we're known for the the glass half full podcast, right? Always looking on the bright side. But at the end of the day, if you're just looking at doom and gloom, you might as well hang up the season now. I don't think we're in that position right now. I think, yeah, sure, there was a lot of breaks that didn't go our way, but you know what did go our way was seeing guys like Ashton Stamps really buy in to the hustle, not just
Yep.
hey, I'm going to make a play and I'm going to be DBU and I'm going to make a pick six. No, I'm going to fight until after the whistle is blown, until the guy is looking at the ref to see if his foot was in to celebrate. I'm going to knock that fucking ball out the
Yeah,
way because
for
I'm going to
sure.
give effort past the whistle. That, if you look at that play alone, Ashton Stamps going up and knocking that ball out at the last second in the corner of the end zone, that is a break our way. Because if he would
Yeah.
not have knocked that ball out and that would have been a touchdown, that's
The game
deflating.
changes.
That's
Yeah.
deflating for a guy like Ashton Stamps, but he got that, right? And you saw later in the game more confidence from that crew. PJ Woodland got in the game, and yeah, sure, he had a pass interference because he didn't turn his head, but he was all over that cat.
Yeah.
He was all over him,
No.
right? It's the first
Uh,
game, and I think going into this, we talked about how quickly will this group take to coaching? How quickly will Blake Baker's relentless blitzes mask some of our deficiencies in the backfield, and then will that deficiency in the backfield rise to some occasions? And we saw at times the young corners absolutely do that. Do we still have issues at safety? Absolutely.
oh my
but
God.
but I think
Yes.
there
Do we
will
have
be
issues at the
more.
star position?
There will be young guys getting their
Yeah.
opportunities in the coming weeks, just like Stamps and just like Woodland were able to do, like a Spears. I think Allen's going to continue to improve. Kylan Jackson is going to get some time out there. I think you're going to see some of these young cats get an opportunity to jump in and make a difference and really take to that coaching. D-line, defensive end. I mean, my goodness, Savion Jones, round of applause, my friend.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
That's the type of play that we growing up and everything became so used to seeing out of LSU is a defensive end that could just fucking push a tackle back and make something happen or just blow right by a guy. It's like in the defensive tackle, I feel like I saw more activity at the defensive tackles than I have in years combined in that one game. You mentioned refs, so I'm not gonna I gotta just bring it up. Obviously, whatever, didn't have any impact on the game. I felt like we never got a fucking call. Like, we could have
It
gotten
was
so
bad.
many
It was
calls in
bad.
that game. Holding, offensive pass interferences. Look, did LSU probably have some of those too? Like, sure, but LSU also had 10 penalties and USC had not many. I didn't look it up, but
I think it was like in the
it,
fourth quarter, and they got a penalty, and I looked around the room. I was like, "Is this their first flag?" Like
yeah,
I,
I
I
think
feel
it
like I
was.
haven't seen them get anything.
It was driving me nuts. Like, it felt like there was so many just, like, blatant holds, and, like, you know, LSU would make a play, like, one of them, I think, Savion made the sack, so it's like, "Okay, whatever," but can we catch one of these? Like, our DBs and safeties need all the help we can get. Don't let the wide receiver just, like, shove the fuck out of them, and I don't know. Credit to USC, they played a lot more physical than I was anticipating. What a fucking kick to the nuts that the first time Lincoln Riley's had a defense in his entire life is the day we go up against them. But like, tip your cap to them. They played.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Listen, is there some issues right now with belief in Brian Kelly and what we're going to be able to do? Absolutely. I think that there's a little bit of a fracture there because of this game, and we talked about it all off season. If he comes out and loses to USC, there's going to be a lot of chatter about Brian Kelly, right? And he can't win the big ones, yada yada yada. I really do feel like if we are going to have a coach that is going to not let the team quit on him, it's this type of guy, right? There
Yeah.
will be positives that come out of this. I
This
do
is a
believe
good
that we're going to,
leadership team. Like
yeah,
Will Campbell is a guy that's going to step up and like, dude, I don't worry about that. Look at the schedule. This team has a month to fucking figure out all their stuff, and they got a playoff game with Lane Kiffin rolling into town. That's when I'll sit back and I'll take some shots at BK if Lane comes in here and just torches us and we can't get a W. But I'm just not ready to do it. One,
no, I'm not ready
because
to do it either. I just
there's no options. We're not blowing this
no,
thing up.
no. I understand that,
That's how
and
you
it's
get to be that's how you get Billy Napier. When
I no. I'm not.
you
I'm not. We're not firing BK, and I don't. I'm not in that camp.
I'm with you.
What I'm trying to make a point about is there are deficiencies there, and there is something to be said about, like, man, why the hell did you not see this during the game, or why can't we make in-game adjustments, or hey, guess what,
Yeah.
if you don't think that Major Burns or Jordan Gilbert or Josh Williams, if you don't think that some of these guys are truly the best players, and then like in the next few weeks we're going to get the real dogs in there and get them some snaps, like, why the hell are we waiting till a loss to do that? They are who they
Yeah.
are, right? And so I don't want to put it all on personnel either. I think that obviously you can only do so much in fall camp. But at the end of the day, we really needed to win this game. But with the
Yeah.
expanded playoff, like everybody, has been saying, if you're going to lose early, this is the season to do it, right? You have a chance to rebound. You have a chance to right the ship. Go win some big games. We've got a lot of big games on this schedule that
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be neck and neck in. It's going to be very similar situations. We cannot always count on this defense. And that's the other thing. Our offense has not been in this position in years, where all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, holy shit, they did get a stop and we have the ball in good position. Like, oh my God, like we need to respond here. And it almost was as if they were surprised. They were caught off guard and they didn't know how to handle that. So disappointing from an offensive perspective, from a rhythm perspective. But I think
That's what I was gonna say.
the
Rhythm.
rhythm and the execution, those are fixable issues. I do feel like that can be improved. We've got some guys there. I thought Nuss was a little too excited for his first real start, right? I thought there were times where he got a little quick trigger, right? Where he had to get
Yeah.
rid of that ball a little too fast, seeing some ghosts every now and then, right? I think that comes with experience. He will overcome that. But when he is comfortable, he's throwing darts. He's,
But
he can thread it.
we also kind of let them get cold, you know? I mean, they drew up a bunch of really good convertible passes for him to hit Mason Taylor and hit Lacey, and it's like, "Hey, we're just gonna run some comebacks here and throw it right there and get your yards." And then out of nowhere, it felt like we didn't have the ball for a while when you go to halftime, and then USC gets it, and then it was like, "You know what, guys? We said it in the press conference. So, like, let's establish the run. I don't care what happens. Shout out John Emery. Like, what an electric spark coming in. Obviously, the news of him tearing ACL is pretty shitty.
Unreal. Unreal.
But it
I
just
think,
felt like we took it out of his hands a little bit. And it's like
yeah,
I kind of wish we would have just said, "You're my guy," and like we're gonna keep throwing these. It's like a perfect example of I don't remember the exact moment of the play, but it was like let's just not put Trey'Dez Green in here in like such a crucial moment. And like, let's have that ball. Let's have Mason Taylor, who's been catching balls from Nussmeier for years, and like, or Lacey. Like, let's do that and not try to put the true freshman out for this one play. It just felt like we got
as
too
as
cute
a
of trying to
decoy
like
too.
manipulate the game.
Yeah, and not even plan to throw to him. Kyren Lacy had
And
too
we were
many
still right
pumps.
there. We're still right there. Dude, there was nothing funnier than thinking Kyron Lacey got a flag for waggling his dick and then like having the 3-minute commercial break. It's like, okay, never mind. Never mind. Hand up.
Yeah, yeah, embarrassing. But really, really liked what Brian Kelly had to say
Yeah.
in the most recent press conference about both Major Burns and Kyron Lacy and emotional composure, and that these kids, they care about that, right? And
Yep.
it's not as if they're arguing with the coaches. It's not as if they're saying, to hell with that. I'm going to celebrate what I want to celebrate. They are making a concerted effort to improve that side of their skill set and their mannerisms and who they are as individuals under pressure and keeping composure. And it is something that they are conscious and working on. And so I think I think that
It wasn't losing their temper. They cared so fucking much that they like got so excited that they got these penalties.
exactly,
That doesn't
exactly.
excuse it, but it's not like Major Burns decided to take a right hook at an offensive lineman on that fourth down because why not? Let's slap him around and we got caught. It was like the dude was so excited
He
and so
just ripped
pumped
his
up to
helmet
run to
off.
his sideline that he took his helmet off. And it's like
Every time, every
it
Major Burns has a "what the fuck are you doing, dude" moment all the time, but it's usually in the best interest of like fandom. It's like, man,
yeah.
I will die for my brothers, like ripping the
Yep.
helmet, like you know what I'm saying, like that. It's erratic and it can get you in trouble. And when the game is on the
Not
line and it's a
excusable.
rate,
Yeah.
the margin of error is so fucking small. You can't
Mhm.
blow people's heads off, and you can't dance around with your helmet off, but again, and it's inexcusable, and we're not making
Right.
excuses here, but it's the fact that like they took a lot of heat in that, oh, it's a
Yeah.
undisciplined kids, or here we go again, look at Kelly, he doesn't know how to coach kids from the city, and like all of those types of comments. That's not true. These
Yeah.
guys are just very, very high emotional football players that unfortunately fucked up, right? And
As
it
far as
wasn't
I can
just those
tell
moments.
as far as I can tell, and you can call it Brian Kelly, you can call it the position coach, all these guys seem like they like playing for Brian Kelly and Bo Davis and, name the coach you want. I just
Yeah.
don't think that there's any of this, and I think they're embarrassed and pissed off that they couldn't win it for the coaches as much as the coaches feel the same way. Like, I really honestly believe that Brian Kelly has built the best locker room culture we've probably had. Pick a date. And it's just like, man, we just gotta win some of these games, and, like, that's the name of the game, but it's like, we're not sitting here, bring up Billy Napier for the 5th time, but it's like, I bet that Florida locker room's pretty rough at this moment.
Yeah,
I
no, I
don't
agree. And
think that they
I
had the
think,
same bounce back practices that LSU had, and it's like, this team is gonna
yeah.
be good, like, w give me Ole Miss, let's stack ourselves up there and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great game in a few weeks. And obviously looking forward to that. And we'll get into more college football talk as we continue to progress past this game. But there's just so many storylines that happened over the weekend for LSU. And I just want to make sure we get our point across in saying that this season is not over. It's extremely disappointing and really a kick in the gut. But I came away with a lot of positives
Yeah.
more than I did negatives. Right? There are a lot of negatives, sure. One of which is Joe Sloan shitting his pants. I don't think he called a great game. I didn't understand the conservative approach in the second half. We could have, as players, overcome that if we would have executed. It's not all just on play calls. It was there. But I think
I
there
I
wasn't a
think
true pulse for where the
yeah.
players were at. We haven't gone through that with this team yet. So I don't think the coaches really knew, man, we really need to start airing it out to Lacey right here, because
Yeah.
if not, like they're not fucking running the ball. They're not converting. Josh Williams is getting bounced around like a ping pong ball just in the wrong damn direction. So we need to run Emory, but make sure he doesn't fuck around on that knee again, which unfortunately he did.
I think Sloan's biggest problem was he thought we were going to be able to run the ball and get 5 yards and get 6 yards. And instead of it almost felt like you get an extra penalty and it's like, well, fuck, I don't know what we're going to do here. And you're sitting here scrolling plays on NCAA trying to figure out the bet. Like, that's how I kind of took it. Like, if this offense gets rolling, I think he's going to be really good at play calling. But when it's, oh shit, it's actually 2nd and 9, I was kind of thinking we were going to take a shot on 2nd and 4. I think it got quick. Like, the game starts going, that clock starts ticking down.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Shout out Aaron Anderson,
Yep.
making plays, stepping up, taking
Create
advantage of the
more pixels on
opportunity.
your television to put his whole hairdo on there. I mean, this dude it was like almost going to the goalpost. It was pretty crazy. Finally got Aaron Anderson involved.
Yeah,
So excited.
that's the guy we were hoping to see.
Yeah, and I think another element that's kind of been glossed over here is, Chris Hilton's not in the game. We had no one to truly stretch the field, and when we were depending on Kyle Parker to be that guy.
Yeah,
very quickly into the game, he was out, right? And so now you're down. I know these guys play multiple positions, and all the receivers know everybody's responsibilities, but you do have a solid 3 or 4 that are kind of starters in those main positions. And when you get down to that third guy, especially in the opener, you're going to lose trust and you're going to start shifting guys around. I think that played a part in truly not opening up our full game plan on being able to stretch the field and take advantage of that with those underneath throws to the tight end and with, back to Lacy. It wasn't as if they were sticking with that same defense they did to open the game with. So there were other areas where we were being locked down. We just did not have that deep threat. And then when you take away, there's no deep threat. You stack the box. You have no running threat from your quarterback. You're very much dependent on, ponying up to the bar and let's run this damn football behind the O-line with a plethora of running backs. And no one was able to get the job done with the exception of John Emery at times. But when it mattered the most, we still couldn't convert a yard.
It also felt like a fever dream because it was like Emery had that electric drive. And it was just like, oh my God, what just happened? And then it was just gone again from there. I do think that game the offense completely opens up if Nussmeier pulls one ball and picks up a first down with his legs. Like, just having them have to think that that's an option, I think would have opened up a lot.
I hate that we're going to be in so many positions this season and we're going to look back and be like, damn, why the fuck didn't we do that against fucking USC open the game? Like, that is that is the frustrating moments from this game, is like, there's so many times where I sat back and was like, ooh, like that's a really good fucking football team. That's a great drive. That's a great play. But we did not, like Kelly said, we didn't compliment each other. The minute we did something good or we got on a good rhythm or we had momentum, we fell asleep on it. We did not kill it, right? We didn't have that killer instinct. So very frustrated with that.
Call the timeout on third down. Call the timeout on third down.
That's what I'm saying. Like those, like, my God,
we're not getting the ball back.
If any team in the world needs a fucking jamboree, or a scrimmage, it needs to be LSU.
It would feel a lot better if we were Texas and got to beat up on a team before we had to go on the big road game this week to play at Michigan. It's like, did that matter? I mean, USC hadn't played anyone either, but it's one of those things. It's like we for once in our history of watching LSU, we played good ball in the second half of like clock management, whatever, have all of our timeouts, and then we just don't use it when we need it. And that one hurt. I mean, kicking that field
every
goal,
year,
I think the entire world knew that game was over.
It seemed kind of like Florida State year one, where it was like, we can get this when we need it, but we're not really going to act dangerous just yet. And then we wait till the last fucking drive, and here we are in a nail biter to make a field goal, to win the game, or make an extra point to win the game, where it was like the same type of feeling of like, guys, like, where is this? Put it away. There was a moment right there
Yep.
the big defensive stand where they just throttled up and everybody was making a play, and it was like, that's it. We are not the defense yet that can do that every fucking time. So like,
Yep.
this is your chance. Go out and get some first downs and in this game. Like, we have the team to do it, and we were not able to do it.
Pimpton gets 14 and a quarter yards on a second and long, and I'm doing air quotes now, rush to the line of scrimmage and like leisurely snap the ball. And it's like, if we're gonna do that, we have to snap the ball 5 seconds into the play clock, like immediately. And that's the type of stuff that's gonna come from experience. Unfortunately, our defense was so fucking bad that Nussmeier didn't get a ton of game reps last year because Jaden Daniels had to win us the game in the fourth quarter most of the time. It's like it's frustrating, but that I Nussmeier is going to be making the right decisions when we're playing against Alabama and Oklahoma and some of these bigger games. Like, he's going to be a little more calm going to the line of scrimmage, or knowing when to hurry up, or knowing when to burn a timeout. All I was thinking about was Brian Kelly making the comment of like, Nuss acts like he has 45 timeouts sometimes. Like, we gotta tell him. And I'm just like, why couldn't that be one of the times that Nuss acted? He had all of them. And I don't know. I like where this team's gonna be. It's like,
I like where it's going to
if we
be.
go get throttled by Ole Miss, like, we can have the discussion. I'm just not ready to have it. I liked what I saw. This team has looked better. This is just gonna be a cohesive team. I feel like we need to give a little bit more praise to the defense.
Yeah,
USC
people like
killed us.
right out of the gate, there
USC
was
killed
people
us with,
shitting on the defense. It was crazy. I'm like, what are you doing?
dude.
Did you
I was
watch
like,
us last year? What are you
in
doing?
the Twitter arguments, I'm like, the defense was 10 times better. And someone hit me with a reply. It was like, they gave up 450 yards, so I wouldn't say that. And it's like, did we watch? Did anyone watch last year? Like, give up as many fucking yards as you want. Like, tell me the last time Lincoln Riley had 10 points in the third quarter of a football game.
No,
I don't
no,
give a
it's
shit
been
that the kicker
no.
missed a play. I don't care. Don't give me any excuses. They got off the field when they needed to without any fluke
20
turnovers or
dude, 20
anything.
point tie ball game with 18 seconds left. Like, our defense gave us
They gave
plenty of opportunities to win the game.
Look, I mean, at 27 looks like, okay, yeah, whatever, but they literally had 13 points with 5.5 minutes left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I was very frustrated watching us just like rush three to end in the entire drive and just have the slow bleed. Like, I wish we would have stayed aggressive, but the whole first half, USC was killing us with screens, and it was like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. All of a sudden, second half rolls around, make some adjustments, and these dudes are hitting these guys on screens, and they're going nowhere. It's like, I saw what I
Yep.
needed to know that this defense is not a complete liability. They're
You know what
not
was
going to go
beautiful?
out and win you 13 fucking games. Like, the offense is going to have to win some of these games, but it's not a hold your seat. Like, it's
Yeah.
we're alive. We're a live dog in these games now.
What was amazing to watch, to your point on those screenplays, was not just the adjustment and all of a sudden we're jumping routes, right? It was when we were getting beat on the screenplays by a guy like Zachariah Branch, we are hustling down the field to make that play. We
A
are
big play doesn't turn into a
flipping out of
touchdown. Yeah.
blocks to make sure tackles. Yeah, it was sure they may have picked up a first down, but last season that is a big play touchdown
Yeah.
every time. These guys are responding, and those were young cats responding, dude. That is what's so encouraging about it, is that you saw dogs, you saw a fight, and eventually the ball will go our way, and that will build more confidence, build more momentum, and hopefully it's against another good team. Because I do believe, after watching that game and watching hours of college football all weekend, USC is going to be a good football team. And they're going to be somebody that wrecks somebody's season in that Big Ten, right? Do I think USC is going to go on and play in the semifinals? No, but I think they are a team that can compete for the playoffs and that can
That's a
knock
playoff
off.
team.
Right. That's it. You could knock off an Oregon after what I saw from Oregon over the weekend. USC could absolutely play with Michigan. They could knock off Penn State. I mean, like they're a good football
Notre
team.
Dame.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be a fun season. Listen, outside of Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas, this thing's pretty wide open. There's a handful of teams that look good, but
Yeah.
what does that mean when you're throwing it against Furman? What does that mean when you're going against all these, citadels of the world? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also know that it shows that you can do those things, right? You can, have those big plays executed. So there's a lot of good teams, in my opinion. I think it's easy to look at and be like, everybody sucks. I kind of look at it on the, glass half full. I
The
think there's a lot of
tiers.
good teams.
Yeah.
There are tiers, absolutely, but I think LSU is squarely in the mix of a good football team that needs a break, right? We need to
Yeah.
have one of these games kind of get lucky when it's on the edge like that. And I think this year we will see that.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go. I just think back to Brian Kelly's first season where we lose the heartbreaker to Florida State, and I don't know, 2, 3 weeks later, whatever it is, Tennessee rolled into town. It's like, we've gotten better. We kind of know who we are now. Special teams is what it is. And they just fucking ran us out the building. And then we were like, oh shit, this is not ideal. We're gonna win 5 games this year. What is that team played in the SEC championship? Like,
Beat Bama.
this team's gonna respond. Are they gonna play in the SEC championship? I don't know. I just know I'm more confident now sitting here telling you LSU is a top 10, top 15 team in the country than I was before the game. The defense has a pulse. Nussmeier is probably gonna be pretty good. And it's just
Yeah.
like we're going in the road. Hey, we fielded some punts and got some yards.
Yes, we did. We were able to secure some punts. We were getting yards.
How
Aaron Anderson scored the
nice.
touchdown.
How nice.
We were able to see some things we haven't seen in a long time. Listen, I know it's overshadowed by his lack of catches in the second half and his antics in the celebration, but Kyron Lacy's catch was ridiculous. I mean, like
Kyron
that.
Lacy showed you that he's another LSU wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyron Lacy is a dude that is going to be respected. I'm excited to watch him play. I would love to see Mason Taylor end a catch standing up and running over people. I just feel like he's always falling forward, but that's a good thing. It's better than falling backwards. He is a forward momentum guy, big guy. He had a lot of good catches for us. Good hands too. I mean, I know last season, he kind of had that sophomore, like, whoa, he had a couple drops that were a little questionable. Great hands. Pimpton coming up with a big catch. That was another exciting play. Brian Kelly talked
You
about
saw
Shelton Sampson.
flashes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw flashes of like how quick and good this offense can be, where it's like, well, here's 15 to Lacy, here's 20 to Mason Taylor, here's this. You're just like, here we go. And then something would happen.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Kelly talks about Shelton Sampson needs to step up, right? We have an absent Chris Hilton that we are obviously not rushing back for Nichols. And so it is time to ensure that if Mr. Fragile Hilton, which we got to call a spade, I love Chris Hilton. I think he's a sick athlete, but he is always hurt. If he continues to get hurt throughout the year, it looks like Kyle Parker's out for some time as well. You need one of these younger guys to step up. They want it to be the
Yeah.
local hero, Shelton Sampson, who, he's got all the talent. It's got to turn on upstairs. And I think he's going to get a hefty amount of opportunity this week, obviously, because he mentioned that. And then we're going to see him against Nichols. And I think that's another young guy that's going to have to make a difference. And I believe he can. I think Trades Green's going to started to get counted on a little bit more as well in the passing game. What's frustrating is going back and seeing all these records that CJ Daniels broke. And bear in mind, it is Liberty, but it's all these massive deep balls and getting behind the defense. And we were just not able to see any of that against USC. And it's like, that is what Nuss does. Like, why are we not playing to the strengths of our players? Nussmeier he has a cannon and he's accurate when he throws downfield. You look at his highlights against Georgia. I mean, just bombs to Malik Neighbors down the sideline against the best defense in the country. I don't think that we have truly figured out, and it sucks that we don't have this figured out game one, and it's routine with Brian Kelly's teams. It takes a few weeks to get greased up. But once it's greased up, it's a machine, right? It's fun to watch, and it's consistent and it's disciplined. But like the fact that he's got to go in the press conference and say we don't do a good job rotating our running backs, and they all aren't great at zone, they all aren't great at counter. Like some of them play better in different plays, and we need to be able to highlight our players with specific packages and specific plays, because they're not all created equal, but they have strengths that can carry the team that others can't. And I think the same can be said about the wide receivers. And so
Yeah.
with the absence of Kyle Parker and Chris Hilton, all that to be said, Shelton Sampson, Kyron Lacy, Aaron Anderson,
CJ
are guys
Daniels, like
that
you
really
said.
we need
Yeah.
to see, break out. And I think we will, because I think Nuss is a guy that likes to play with vengeance. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He knows, he had some decisions, some throws that he would have liked to get back.
A couple.
Overall, he
A
played great,
couple.
but I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be taking his shots.
Yeah, to your point, it definitely felt like we were calling an offense like we didn't trust our defense, and it's like, we kinda have
Right,
the
right.
ability to take some of those shots. It's like this defense is gonna get off the field a few times and make some plays. Like, that to me makes me feel like you can kind of let us loose even more than you think. I don't know.
Miller
I don't
Moss
know
is
how
one
many
ugly
times
duckling, man,
he
and
I
he
don't I
dominated the coverage.
he, like, pops up on my feed from time to time. He looks like that dude whose his name's, like, Trevor, and he's just, like, an Instagram dude. Do you know who I'm talking about? He, like, comes
Yes,
through my feed all
yes,
the time.
yes.
Every time I saw that dude, that's exactly who I think of. He has some funny videos from time to time that I'm
Yeah,
just
he's been
like,
on
"Yeah,
Tim
Miller
Dillon.
Moss."
He's funny. But no, Miller
Um,
Moss, yeah, he looks like, I don't know, he looks like some type of GA that works for Princeton. Like he just,
yeah.
dude, get off the screen, man.
I'm really, really hoping that USC's defense in front was good because there were some times that they pushed us and look, pass blocking, I thought they did great. Running blocking is what it is. Like we didn't get there, but it was we weren't the bullies that I thought we were gonna be, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, we didn't help ourselves talking shit for 2 weeks straight that we're gonna fucking throw people in the turf. And I love it. I love it, but you have to back it up. You
You
have to
gotta be
be
the
able,
you
you got to do
gotta be
it.
Deshaun Womack coming or not Deshaun Womack, Chance Warm like, the dude from
Hmm.
Bama was his name Chance Warmack that just had his belly
Just,
out of his
oh
shirt.
yeah.
Like, you gotta be that and just, like, bully people if you're talking about going and getting in a fist fight. That's all.
Speaking of Womack, excellent use of our defensive ends. I thought Swinson played, really
Yeah.
good ball. Obviously, Savion Jones was the breakout star of the game. But Womack, when he had his rotations in there, he was in the backfield as well. So the point of emphasis for Blake Baker was we don't have elite dogs at DB that
Yeah.
we can just lock up back there. We have to create pressure, and guess what? We don't have the D tackles that can just do that by themselves. So our
Yeah.
linebackers and our edge rushers really need to be
Which,
creative in
like,
how they get there,
we might.
and they
Like,
did.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you our defensive line is gonna be the best in the SEC, whatever, but and they brought some pressures, like Whit Weeks, I thought had a really good game.
Of course,
I thought, Harold Perkins showed flashes. I would like to still see that a little
I
more.
don't
It kind of
ever
felt
like
like he
seeing
would
Harold Perkins
disappear at
on his
times.
knees. Like there was
Yeah,
so
it's
many
not
times where he's rushing and he just dropped to his knees and stuff and just kind of chill out. Like to Kelly's point though, he's doing too much. Like just
yeah.
just stay focused on your assignment and you're going to be amazing.
But I I was just very, very impressed about the way the defensive line played. And, we talked about it. You bring in two of the best defensive line coaches in the entire country. Like you should see some improvement. So I don't know, man. I was just it sucks we didn't just sneak out of there with a W and we're sitting here. If we win that game 27-20, we're sitting here calling playoffs BK's through year 3. It's like
Yep, yep.
all because of 3 plays that didn't go our way.
Yeah. There's a lot of conclusions after week 1 that happen. A lot of narratives right now, and I'll dive deep into those narratives, because I don't know. There's something about living away from the culture, living away from Louisiana. You get like an outsider's perspective because Nothing, no college football is being talked about around here.
No
Nothing.
water cooler talk at the
No water cooler
office.
talk. So I get all of college football just kind of thrown at me. And so I'm just drinking the Texas Kool-Aid right now. I'm drinking the Ohio State, Quinshon Judkins Kool-Aid right now. Like there's a lot of really good teams out there. But still, with that being said, LSU's right there in that mix. I really think
Yeah.
that we are a good football team. We're going to see some good stuff moving forward. I do think we need some serious safety help. And I know I mentioned, some
Yep.
of those young guys,
100%.
but one of those young guys that made his way to second team star was Juwan Johnson. And now
Yeah.
they have shifted him over to running back due to the lack of depth from Trey Holly being still MIA with court. And then obviously John Emery with his torn ACL again. Prayers for John, unbelievable, terrible, tragic news. We already talked about it, but these running backs need to step the hell up. As much as I dog Josh Williams, which I will continue to dog Josh Williams, and I'm tired of being apologetic about Josh. I'm tired of being apologetic about it. Like it is what it is. Great kid, loves the university, gives his all. Amazing pass blocker, routinely in the right positions, gives everything for the extra yard. Unfortunately, there's just a missing gear that we need so badly in our running game. Obviously, the O-line needs to do a better job, but when all things are equal, give Caleb Jackson a couple more tries. Give Caden Durham a shot, dude. We went out and let fucking Contravious Bradford get the opening touches a year or two ago, whatever the case may be. Why aren't we trying Caden Durham on some of these? He can fly, right? Juwan Johnson is a cat that is an incredible athlete. He's one of those that they immediately circled as, if we need an extra playmaker on offense, who can it be? This is a guy that was rotating with Major Burns at the star position. I wish he could step up on defense in place of Major. Maybe Major can figure things out. Who knows? We've been saying that about him and Sage Ryan for some time. But Juwan will be moving to running back for right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's one of those things, like you said, it's like I kind of feel like this playmaker type dude could fit in really perfectly and help this defense right now. But let's give him some shot. I mean, Kelly said he's gonna get the ball a couple times this week, so let's see what happens. The dude had a billion touchdowns and yards in high school, so,
Yep.
like, I'm in. I'm in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you know who else has a billion yards is fucking Trey Holly. That dude has every record, known to man. Really would love to get Trey back. Hopefully we see something like that. Like that's the kind of season we're in. Is like randomly we'll get like a Trey Holly pop in against Ole Miss and be like, whoa, where'd he come from? Who's 25? Speaking of 25, I didn't see Toviano on the field. Chip in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Toviano got any snaps.
I don't think he did either. I think he's at minimum suspended for a week or two from the team, maybe not eligible to play right now. But yeah, it is weird to see him as like the second on the depth chart. And it's like I don't think he got in either. I'm pretty certain
that's a punishment situation because he's a guy we relied on last season as a true freshman. So maybe that's another guy we see kind of break out with Kylan Jackson, with Deshaun Spears, kind of in that safety rotation, or in that star rotation. I don't think things are settled back there. I think things are far from settled. Where I do think things are settled is that linebacker, the Weeks brothers, Harold Perkins, and Greg Penn at times played great. And so I'm really excited to see the improvement already at the linebacker position. But my goodness, can we give it up for Coach Peoples and the defensive ends? I know we talked about it already. I know Davis and the defensive tackles look great. But man, just to see the push, just to see the violence and be in the right position and finishing plays on the defensive line across the board, especially those defensive ends. And finally, Mr. Savion Jones coming through. My God, been waiting for that to happen. The dude is an absolute freak of nature. We just needed somebody to get their hands on him outside of Moffitt, to be able to make some plays. We play Nichols this week. What are you expecting to see? What do you want to see? What are you looking for? I mean, obviously it's Nichols, so it is what it is. But I am still kind of that kid in the candy store. It's that early in the season where like I just want to see some dudes in purple and gold.
I want us to
purple specifically.
Yeah, I do. Nothing better. I think they're gonna wear. They're probably gonna
They're
wear
not
white
wearing
because it's the
purple. I
home.
was just curious.
Yes, the home opener. But I just want to see the offense run a bajillion plays into the million guys and figure out who can step up. And on defense, you see some improvement, see some of those young guys, the safeties. Like somebody's got to step in at that safety position and fill a couple of those spots because it got a
We
little
need to make a
rough in the
play, dude.
USC game.
We need a
On
DB.
turnovers, yeah.
We need a DB out there that's a threat to make a play. That's all I'm looking forward to, man. I just need somebody back there where if a ball's up in the air or if it's a padded ball in the air, like I don't care if it's at the line of scrimmage. I'm looking at a Delpit that's going to come up and make it, or I'm
Yeah.
looking for Eric Reed, or I'm looking like all these safeties. Where are our playmaking safeties, man? If we don't have a corner that can do it, we have to at least have a stud at safety back there. He is on this roster. He is somewhere. We just have to be able to develop that, and the timing has to be right. But we're going to get there. I think Corey Raymond's going to figure that out. So
We're gonna
excited for the
return a punt. We're gonna house a punt this
Savion.
weekend.
It looked like he just wasn't picking up his fucking feet. He was another
I
one that
know.
had a great catch on the sideline too. I forgot about him at receiver running routes. Really did
Yeah.
well. Just let's get to the
Yeah,
sticks.
he's a little bigger. He's a little, like, bigger than I was
Like a little running
anticipating.
back.
I was like, yeah, I don't know, in my head, I just had that we were, it was gonna be another, lanky receiver, speedy guy, and when he caught the ball, I was like, "Oh,
Nah,
shit,
dude.
like, that dude
Flint
looks
had
good in
him.
pads."
Yeah, Flint had him from the get-go, man. Wait till Flint gets him. He got him.
I don't know if we're ready to move on from
Yeah.
LSU, but I've convinced myself of Michigan this weekend, Michael.
Oh no. Really?
I
That
think
is a curveball. I did not that's a hot take I did not see coming from you.
I think, who the fuck did Texas play? Rice, whatever, whoever they played looked incredible. Ewers is throwing no look passes. Oh my God, this team's so good. I think they're going to walk into Michigan, and Michigan's defense is really fucking good. And I think it's gonna be one of those low scoring games, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, I didn't see this coming." I'm not ready to sit here and say Michigan's gonna win, but I think I've convinced myself that it's gonna be a little bit of a bloody matchup. Like I think Michigan's defense is gonna make
Well, I think it's going to be a
Texas's
close
offense not look
game.
so
I think it's
good.
going to be a close game. But you're saying it's close game but Texas still wins.
No, I look, I mean, if you want me to just plant my
You
flag, I'll
should
take
plan it.
Michigan. I'll be I've been Michigan bred for years. Everyone listening to this podcast knows that, but I don't know. It just was so easy to sit around on Saturday and, Texas looks incredible. Fresno's giving Michigan everything they want in the first half. And you're just like, oh my God, Texas is going to go in and win by 1,000,000. I'm just giving you a Lee Corso not so fast, my friend. I'll take my shirt off like McAfee and hug Saban if you want.
I'm a victim. I'm a victim of the Kool-Aid. I'm all in on Texas. And not because of the offense. The defense looks physical. They look like they are fucking knocked.
Historically, when you're all in on Texas, that's when Texas lets you down. That's just kind of where I'm going. I
I
think
get it.
Texas
I
is
get it.
good. I enjoyed. They're fun to watch. Like I'm not whatever. I think Texas is obviously gonna be dancing around in the playoffs here, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be a surprising game for some
I want it
people.
to
It's
be
like,
a
oh, we
dogfight.
thought Michigan was dead.
I want Michigan to win. I'm a Michigan man. I like the maize and blue. I just they're watching that Texas game and then watching it back again. I understand it's Colorado State, but the way they played, especially early in the game on defense, really setting a tone and being physical. I haven't seen that type of physicality from Texas. And then just kind of start to finish, even in special teams, they were making plays, returning kicks like almost all the way back when it should have been just kind of like bobbled in the back of the end zone. Just a lot of big plays that they made. It was a different type of attitude than I've seen from Texas in some time, where they could have easily just been like, oh, it's fucking Colorado State. Let's mail this in. They took them to the woodshed and they pounded the hell out of it the whole game. And then when the backups went in, they were making crazy plays too. So I'm not calling them national champions. I just think This is
You
a
crown
different
their ass.
this is a different Texas team. I'm not that impressed with Michigan like I thought I would be. With that being
That's
said,
my point. That's my
that with
point.
that
We were all like,
with that
"Ooh,
said,
ew."
that is the trap. That is the trap. Their defense is legit. Michigan's defense is absolutely legit. And so if Texas does their typical Texas bullshit, well, they'll walk in and the minute they get punched in the mouth, they kind of fold, then yes, it will be a game that I did not expect. But we'll see.
Do you want to talk about any week 1 games, like any Saturday games? We were planning on watching the games
Yeah,
together,
you got
and
sick.
your boy maybe caught a little bug and was puking his guts out in the woods on 12, so
It
that
was
didn't
tough.
happen.
It was a tough scene for Brett, but he rebounded. He's back for the podcast. We're good to go. We did.
Hey,
I will say
I
that
hit some good
kudos for you
shots
gutting it
now.
out. Kudos for you for gutting it out. I thought we were bailing out. I was talking to Grant throughout the round where you were behind the trees, sticking your finger down your throat. I said, this doesn't look good. We might have to bail out mid round. And
We were
Grant was
never
adamant,
bailing.
adamant. This is his decision. He can do, if Brett wants to go to the clubhouse and lay down, whatever, he's more than welcome to do it. I was a little more remorseful. I was like, no, we need to get him out of here. We need to get him out.
No, I was never at minimum. I was riding in the cart, but we puked and rallied, and your boy
We
hit
did.
some good
He hit some
shots
shots.
coming in.
He hit
So,
some good shots. The heat certainly was a little rough for your boy. I was
it was
feeling
not hot.
I was feeling toasty and sticky. It was rough. It was a rough day, but beautiful course and really had fun with the boys. The game,
But anyway, yeah.
some of the games that, obviously Clemson's a bust. Florida State's an absolute joke.
Texas
Florida,
A&M, Notre Dame.
Texas A&M is who I thought they were. Decent defense. I will say this: like their defense is decent. Offense is the same old thing. Wegman sucks. Notre Dame is okay. They have a really good defense, but I really was expecting a little more pop from their offense, specifically Riley Leonard.
It's a lot easier to call plays when you got Jaden Daniels, Neighbors, and Brian Thomas around.
Absolutely.
I hate it, and I won't. Like I need this to be clear. I won't root for Notre Dame, but man, do I find myself liking Marcus Freeman.
It's tough. It is absolutely tough. I like it. I like Marcus Freeman. Going to Miami and Florida, I think Cam Ward's your Heisman. If they kind of, run away with it, if you want to sprinkle some on there, I think Cam Ward looked really good.
Let's fucking hold.
Heisman.
Did Cameron Ward look good? Yes. Did Miami have a little sprinkle of give me the U? Yes. Is it possible Florida is just ass? Yes. Like we have to hold until we can really identify it. I don't think Miami has that tough a schedule, but I'm not willing to crown Miami at this point because they beat the shit out of Florida. Impressive. Go to the swamp. Whatever.
I'm crowning Cam Ward.
Yeah, incarnate word, Heisman, bring it.
Listen, we can say whatever the hell we want. It's week 1. I mean, next week we can roll in here, and I'm just like, no, Dylan Gabriel's actually good again, which I don't think he is. I think Oregon's a bust.
Speaking of Heisman, there was someone on this podcast last week that said maybe sprinkle a little Nico Heisman, maybe sprinkle a little Nico.
Yeah, and I still don't think that's a good plan.
He put up a billion fucking yards.
I know, right behind the
Tennessee is going to be a problem. Tennessee is
going to be a team.
They play at. I can look it up. Do they play at NC State or they play at Tennessee this week?
Yes, it's at NC State, I believe.
That's what I thought. Oh, too bad.
I think Tennessee. I think Tennessee is dangerous, but I do not see them as a complete football team that's going to really beat anybody of note. I think Nico is a year away. I think he's good. I'm not ready to put all my eggs in the Nico basket yet. I would take Miami over Tennessee.
No, that's fair.
Would you agree with that?
I just Just Nico's getting all the love after zipping a couple balls in there. It just made me happy.
Did you
Shout
see?
out to fucking Bill O'Brien. Like, shout
Let's
out
go.
Bill
Let's
O'Brien.
go. He's a
The
good
only
football
big
coach.
game. No, he's not. Stop. No, he's
He
not.
is. Bob is a good coach.
No, he's not. But no,
Oh, the
credit
other
to
one I wanted to
him.
say. The other one I wanted to say. As listen, Penn State is still not it. Okay. I understand they beat the heck out of West Virginia. And yes, a lot of this has to do because I took the points in West Virginia plus 8.5. There is no worse football team on this planet than the West Virginia Mountaineers. Holy shit.
It wasn't good.
But Penn State is still talked about as this top 7 team. And it's like, guys, I just do not see it from these guys. I do not see it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Penn State's fate changes in a 12-team playoff. I think that's what they are. A 10, 12, top 15 team that is just never going to beat Ohio State, is never going to beat Oregon, is never going to beat like anytime they go up against one of the big dogs, it's just they're outmatched. And until that happens, like I'm just in the same boat. They
How
play
about
Bowling Green
Auburn
this
dropping
week though.
76?
Look out, the SEC's back, baby. Um, I'm trying to. I just pulled up this week's game. So you have
I've got a couple bets that I placed. Just
Texas at Michigan and Arkansas at Oklahoma State are the 11 a.m. games.
oh yeah, okay. So as far as the games outside of betting, but just kind of really to look at, right? Arkansas made some noise. They put up some points. Oklahoma State's a really good football team. That should be a decent game. Obviously, Texas Michigan's going to be a really good game. Nebraska Colorado is hyped up.
All eyes on
Yeah,
Colorado. Colorado got
interesting
lucky.
team. There's a
Iowa
couple.
State at Iowa. Don't want to watch that.
That's
but
a
I
paid
will.
state game.
South Florida at Bama, where South Florida could come
Rivalry.
in and get that revenge rivalry game. And then the night window is Tennessee at NC State, obviously LSU game, Houston at Oklahoma, and Boise at Oregon, which I think you got to keep an eye on to see if Oregon is what the deal is with Oregon.
So I took Boise State plus 18.5. I don't know what it's moved to. Has it moved around a little?
I mean, look, I'm on ESPN, so we're maybe not the best lines, but it says Oregon minus 21.5 here.
Oh, all right. Okay, might have to double down. Let's get back in there. I took a couple games. Boise State plus 18.5. Boise's got a really good running game. I think they can kind of control that clock a little bit, keep it closer than people expect. Obviously, Oregon wants a bounce back game, but there was something there. I don't know. I caught a vibe watching that Oregon game where it's like this might not be the team that we think it is, regardless of effort, regardless of, we're going to bounce back against Boise. They just weren't explosive. They were just out of rhythm, a lot like us in a sense, but the defensive side of the football did not really make the plays that I was expecting. They weren't explosive on either side. I like the Cal and Auburn over 53.5.
I guess I'm on top 25. I should go to all.
I feel like that's one of those games where there's going to be some points scored. Auburn's putting up a lot of points. I think Hugh Freeze is notorious for that. Cal, I don't know much about, but there's something about, Cal versus Auburn that stands out to me that there's going to be some points. So 53.5, taking that. And then Baylor, Utah over 53.5 as well. I think, Utah is hyped up right now. And I think they're a very good football team. I think they can score some points. This could be the year that we see Baylor score some points again and actually have a pulse on offense. If they have a minimal amount of a pulse on offense, and Utah is who I think they are on offense as well, I think you're going over the 53.5.
Oh, another game at 2:30. Yeah, that's what I was in top 25. South Carolina at Kentucky. Definitely a game to keep an eye on, considering we're playing South Carolina in a week or two.
And they very disappointing. watching their
Oh,
opener.
yeah, but that defensive end freshman, those all those clips coming out on him,
It's
dude
great.
looks like a stud. But
Looks
yeah,
good.
South Carolina, not great, which is gonna be even more frustrating when we go in there for an 11 a.m. kick in 2 weeks and we're tied at halftime.
Well, yeah.
Fire Kelly,
I
don't bring
mean,
him back,
it's very
bring Beamer
predictable.
back with you. I already know it's coming. We should try and put in a South Carolina first half bet, like, right now.
Yeah, I wonder what that
Uh,
would be. Might have some futures.
yeah, I mean, Ole Miss plays another fucking Middle Tennessee. Like, who cares?
Listen, Ole Miss,
There's,
I know they played Furman. They look good. Ole Miss looks like a
yeah.
good football team.
I
It's
mean,
going to
dude,
be a
with
game.
Ole Miss's schedule, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be lingering around. It's like they have LSU and Bama and Oklahoma. Again, those are the only like real games they have on their schedule. So it's like we'll see. They're going to be good. They're going to be
O-
hanging around.
Oklahoma and Missouri both looked pretty decent as well. Two teams that, one of which, Missouri, I thought we might see some fall off. Yeah, I don't think they really played anybody. Who'd they play? Who'd Missouri play last week? I'm not sure who they played, but um, obviously their offense is going to look great. Luther Burden looks great.
They played
Brady,
Murray State. They played Murray State.
yeah. So it
So
is what it is. Can't take much from it, but the defense still looked like they were swarming to the football. They didn't look like a massive drop off. We will see. But
Baker
after week
sucks.
one, they still look okay. Oklahoma was surprising to me. I wouldn't say surprising. I knew they would continue to improve, but the more and more we see of Jackson Arnold, the more I might start, tossing the notion around. Maybe Dylan Gabriel was forced out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean they played Temple. Let's see what happens as
Forced
the
out.
weeks unfold. No, the Oklahoma game was mid, like falling asleep for 30 minutes, waking up, puking my guts out. So I wasn't locked in on that one on Friday night. But
Um,
yeah, I don't have
I'm
much to
excited
say.
about college
Clemson. Oh
football
yeah,
this year, man. I think it's gonna be a fun college football season.
look,
You know,
week two is a sprinkle of some big games and a couple Furmans and everything. And then I think, week three you have Alabama, Wisconsin, LSU, South Carolina. So it's like we're
I
sneaking
think
in, and
Kentucky
all of a
is Kentucky,
sudden,
Georgia that week as well. I know it's off the cuff,
yes,
first
Georgia
blush. It's like, oh,
at
who cares?
Kentucky.
It's Kentucky, but like that, if Kentucky continues to improve, say they beat South Carolina this week, that might be one of those games that you could look at that spread, or I don't know. I'm this season is primed for some wild upsets.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree. We're gonna see some fun stuff here coming up. There's some everyone. I think everyone's beatable. Is Georgia like really fucking good? Yeah. Is Ohio State really good? Yeah. I just think no one's immune to losing. Like everyone's got another game or two against a Texas and Oklahoma or a USC or an Oregon. That's like, yeah, I don't know that all these teams are just gonna like smooth sail undefeated through their conference championships anymore.
No, and it's great though that we have this conversation about like 10 teams. Like there really is a handful of really good teams that we're all talking about. And yeah, Georgia's still undefeated. They're still or with their regular season and in their top dogs, but like there's just it doesn't feel insurmountable. It doesn't feel as if they have, a fucking Cam Newton back there that like you're just not going to get past Georgia. It's like there's still hope for everybody in that top 10 to 15 crew, in my opinion. Is
Yeah.
that
So I
funny?
skipped ahead to no, I skipped ahead to week four to just kind of, keep getting a little pulse of what we're seeing. We got some good matchups. You got Utah at Oklahoma State. You got
Nice.
Tennessee at Oklahoma.
Yes.
UCLA's obviously at LSU, which it says it could start at 3 or 4:30 or 6 to 8, which is weird. You have NC State, Clemson. You have USC, Michigan. I'm like, oh my god, dude,
Oh,
these are some
nice.
like haymaker games. And then the next one on the list is Georgia Southern at Ole Miss. It's just like Ole Miss fucking week in and week out just doesn't
Yeah.
play
Let's put up
anyone.
80. Let's put up 80 this week.
Yeah.
Let's get Ben Mintz
Uh,
riled up. That's
oh
fine. Let them
man.
fuck around with these
Yeah.
nobodies and then come into
No,
Tiger
for
Stadium
sure.
when we figured out who we are and our season's on the fucking line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm so looking forward to it. I can't. It's just circled. What is that? Week 6? week 7. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Yeah, week 7, October 12th.
Woo. Fall, crisp air. Nussmeyer slinging it to Lacey in the end zone. Lane tossing popcorn around.
No, Smart Waters, Cokes.
Well, that's all I
You
got.
want to get out of here, watch the second half of a
Yeah.
NFL game?
Appreciate you
Well,
joining us, guys.
all the people who decided to come hang out with us instead of, or maybe in tandem of watching